Al-Sudani orders urgent dinar rate review. Is IQD revaluation finally here? High voltage IQD and VND update 2025. Welcome to Iraqi Dinar RV, your trusted source for real, factual updates on the Iraqi dinar and currency market news. If you're looking for hype-free insights, you're in the right place. Today, we're discussing a major development. Prime Minister Al-Sudani has reportedly called for an urgent review of Iraq's dinar exchange rate. This has raised serious questions about whether a revaluation of the Iraqi dinar is closer than we think, and what that could mean for investors, the local economy, and even regional currencies like the Vietnamese Dong. Let's get straight into what's happening. Over the past few days, reports have emerged from credible Iraqi news outlets and political insiders confirming that Prime Minister Al-Sudani has ordered a formal review of the current dinar rate. This move is not routine. It appears to be a response to both internal economic pressures and increased political calls to strengthen the currency. The current exchange rate sits at around 1320 IQD per US dollar, but many lawmakers and economists have criticized this level, calling it undervalued and detrimental to Iraq's purchasing power. So what does this review mean in real terms? To be clear, a rate review doesn't automatically mean a revaluation is guaranteed. However, it does indicate that high-level discussions are happening and that the government is considering policy adjustments. This could include a modest shift in the exchange rate or broader currency reforms. One possible scenario being discussed by analysts is a move from 1320 to around 1200 or even closer to parity over time. While this wouldn't be a full revaluation in the sense many in the dinar community expect, it would still represent a significant signal of economic direction and political will. That alone makes this news worth watching closely. What's driving this urgency? There are several contributing factors. First, Iraq's economy has stabilized somewhat, especially with oil prices holding steady and inflation relatively under control. Oil revenues remain the country's primary economic engine. And over the last year, Iraq has reported substantial foreign exchange reserves, reportedly now over $110 billion. That's a strong position for any country considering currency reform. Second, there's growing frustration over the reliance on the US dollar for trade and the black market exchange rate, which continues to distort local pricing. The spread between the official rate and parallel market rate often creates confusion and price manipulation in the local economy, hurting average Iraqis. Third, the central bank has faced increasing scrutiny over its management of the currency and its ability to enforce a consistent rate. Smuggling, cash leakage, and corruption in currency auctions have all added pressure on the system. By launching this review, Al-Sudani's government is signaling that it's ready to explore a different approach, potentially one that supports a stronger, more independent Iraqi currency. But let's be realistic. Even if a change is coming, it won't happen overnight. A true revaluation would require coordination between the Central Bank of Iraq, the Parliament, and possibly international organizations like the IMF. It also demands confidence in Iraq's financial system, infrastructure, and transparency, areas that are still developing. So what should you expect in the short term? Most likely, this will be a multi-phase process. The first phase is the internal review. That's what's happening now. The second phase could involve public statements or early adjustments, possibly a shift to a more managed float system. Only in the final phase would we potentially see a stronger dinar emerge on international platforms. Now, how does this tie into the Vietnamese Dong and regional currency trends? While Iraq and Vietnam are very different economically, both countries have managed exchange rates and similar pressures from foreign reserves, inflation, and trade dynamics. Vietnam, in particular, has also been gradually strengthening its financial position with over $130 billion in reserves. Its currency, the Dong, has been tightly managed, but many economists believe it's due for gradual adjustment as Vietnam's export economy continues to grow. If Iraq begins adjusting its currency value, it could inspire or pressure other countries in the region, like Vietnam, to reevaluate their own monetary policies. This could lead to broader regional shifts, especially if oil markets remain strong and global demand for exports continues. There's also another factor, geopolitics. The Middle East is undergoing shifts in financial strategy. Gulf countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE are exploring alternatives to the US dollar in certain transactions. If Iraq were to strengthen the dinar and begin settling even a portion of its oil sales in local currency, that would mark a substantial policy change, one that could ripple across the region. So what should you, as a viewer and investor, take from this? First, this news is a genuine policy development. It's not a rumor, but we also need to approach it with patience and perspective. Currency reforms take time. The government may issue new directives, the central bank may respond with its own review, and only then would we see any movement in the official exchange rate. Until then, it's all about reading the signals, and this is a strong one. It's also important to avoid unrealistic expectations. A one-to-one rate overnight is extremely unlikely without major structural reform. Instead, watch for gradual changes, smaller upward adjustments to the dinar's value that signal a long-term policy trend. That's how real economic reform usually unfolds. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this urgent review? Do you see it as the first step toward revaluation, or is it just a policy adjustment to ease political pressure? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every comment and your insights matter. And if you're getting value from this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe to Iraqi Dinar RV for clear, factual, and hype-free updates. We cover every key move from Baghdad to the central bank with full transparency and no fluff. Remember, real change comes from real action, not just talk. Let's stay informed, stay realistic, and stay ahead of the curve. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next update. Disclaimer: this article is intended for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. The foreign exchange market is inherently risky and prone to misinformation. Consult with qualified professionals before making any investment decision. Iraqi Dinar RV is not liable for any losses or damages resulting from the use or reliance on this content.